Hello, good people.
We are streaming live on YouTube, and we're just going to wait for a few board members to join us. Oh, we have 3 minutes, so thank you for being early.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Daristo Ledger, I have not heard. I have messaged the other members. I know Chairman Rigueur did plan to join, so I don't know if you want to give it another minute. And I'm waiting to hear from Ms. Oliver and Ms. Brody.
Okay, sounds good. We'll give it like 2 more minutes.
Okay. For anyone that has joined us or anyone watching on YouTube, and it's wondering why it's quiet, we're just giving it another minute for more board members to join, so hang tight.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, we're going to get started, and I apologize for the delayed start. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francoise Darastel Ledger, and I am the chair of the Teaching and Learning Committee for the Hartford Board of Education. This is our Teaching and Learning Committee meeting, and today is November 1st, 2023, and I will like to popcorn it off to others so that we can know who's in the room and what you do. So I will popcorn it to, forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Zandralyn Gordon.
Very close. Zandralyn Gordon. I'm the director of the Adult Education Center in Hartford.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. And who would you like to popcorn it off to?
I will go to Ms. Rice.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Gordon. I'm Marjorie Rice, and I am the principal of McDonough Middle School. I will popcorn it to Ms. Torres Hill.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Daisy Torres Hill. I am the acting assistant superintendent for professional learning and multilingual learners. Happy to be here. I will popcorn it out to Hannah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Keyser. I'm a strategic project manager with Hartford Public Schools, and I will popcorn it to Kelly.
Good afternoon, Kelly Lyman. I am an associate for Partners for Educational Leadership, here for one of your agenda items later. And I will popcorn it to Paul.
Good afternoon, Paul Foster. I am our Deputy Superintendent, and I will pass it to Principal Padjo.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm Principal Padjo for Hartford Public High School. Trying to find somebody who hasn't gone. I will pass it on to Tisha.
Hi, my name is Tisha Marquette. I am a program coordinator for Partners for Educational Leadership, and I will be joining you later. I will popcorn it to Tori.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tori Nels-Outler. I am Acting Assistant Superintendent for School Leadership and Student Success, and I will call on Chief Barney.
Hi, everybody. I'm Corinne Clark Barney, and I am the Chief of Schools and Innovation. Nice to see you all. And I will send it to Katie.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Katie Leonard. I'm the Acting Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and I will send it to Dr. Torres Rodriguez.
Hi, everyone. Proud Superintendent Leslie Torres Rodriguez, and I am going to tag in Richard Lemons.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Richard Lemons. I'm the Executive Director for Partners for Educational Leadership, and we're on your agenda later in the day. And now I'm trying to figure out who has not gone yet in this group. I believe I'm tapping in Philip.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This is Philip Rigueur, the Chair of the Board of Ed for Hartford Public Schools, and also newly self-appointed AI expert. That's an inside joke that Leslie understands. And I think I will pass it over to Christina.
Hello, all. Christina Santiago, the board liaison. And I believe that is everyone. Yes. Raise your hand if I do see a screen saying iPhone. I don't know if that's somebody calling in.
This is Patrick Flynn. I am boarding a plane, so I was kind of keeping my screen silent. So, but as I'm getting on the plane, thank you for having me. But I will only be in for a few minutes. So,
Understood. Thank you. All right, I believe that's everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And can we please have the agenda up? Thank you so much. So the first item on our agenda is contract approval, Partners for Educational Leadership, and who will be presenting?
We will start with the superintendent.
Okay.
Tagging me in. Yes. Ms. Santiago, ready to go? Great. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's committee meeting. Before we begin, I do want to take a moment to discuss a key update to our process for bringing contracts. And this is in response to feedback that we have gotten as to the contract proposal process, how we can continue to improve it. We've heard feedback from our board, some community members as well. And so in response and in the spirit of continuous improvement, we are piloting the use of this new template. Some of the board members that are on the call remember a conversation we had during one of the retreats in which, you know, you guys gave us specific elements that you wanted to see in the template. And we believe that this template will facilitate an easier and more transparent follow-up process for any questions or information requests that happen at the committee level, and then leading up to the board meeting. We're going to use the template in place of a traditional slide deck. It will be shared with you at least a week before the meeting. And as we pilot the tool, I'm asking that you share any feedback with myself, with Christina. Right, it is a living document that we want to make sure that we adjust as needed. To kind of bridge the fact that we're starting with this template for the first time, we did send you a PowerPoint. And so that PowerPoint actually is one that has been used internally, that has been developed internally and is kind of like ready to go once when this gets approved. We're hoping this gets approved so that that PowerPoint can be used to meet with prospective applicants and participants for this wonderful design that we are going to present to you. So just wanted to kind of brief you on that. You know, we're going to kind of toggle between a template introduction and a new process here. So we're going to begin, and I know that Tisha, I see Tisha and several of our partners from PEL here as well. So we're going to go through the document, and I'll kind of summarize the key elements here. The vendor is Partners for Educational Leadership, PEL, and in essence, the purpose of this contract is to facilitate the development and the implementation of a principal pipeline program that will give us an opportunity to grow and develop our own highly effective leaders. And so I am here, it lists myself as the contract owner only because it's under the Office of Academics. And so I'm here wearing that role of that other hat as CAO hat, but we also have Acting Assistant Superintendent Daisy Torres Hill that can speak to any of the elements. So the objectives of what we're hoping to do here is, again, to develop the program really targeted at staff already, HPS staff that have an O92, that is the administrator certification. And it is also geared at developing curriculum and building the capacity of our internal team to run the principal pipeline program after this year, right? We know that as part of our ESSER application, and one of those principles that we identify, design principles, is to make sure that whatever we invest in, that we're building not only our muscle to do the work, but the capacity in years to come. And so we're trying to do this now to set us up at a stable foundation to continue it on our own. And so we're hoping to graduate 10 candidates that have a very keen understanding of Hartford Public Schools, best practice in instructional leadership, of course, but also our specific context here in Hartford Public Schools. And again, we want to make sure that they have the knowledge, the skill set, and the disposition to become future principals and central office directors in the future. With regard to alignment, we know that we're committing to making sure that everything aligns to our priorities. And so you can see here that it kind of cuts across all of our priorities, right? We know that when we look at the research, we know that when we think about what role impacts student outcomes in terms of achievement and academic outcomes. So we know those are teachers, highly effective, qualified teachers, and then followed by the instructional leader, the principal. And so we want to make sure that we continue to build our capacity. One that I'll focus on here, in addition to high quality teaching and learning and having highly qualified instructional leaders, is skillful staff and effective operations. This is something that was an ask, if you will, when we engaged our community, having a career ladder here internally at Hartford Public Schools. And so we, in the last 2 years, have spent resources, people, time, and money on building the pipeline and the supports to not only recruit, support, and retain educators. And so now we're thinking of, okay, what is the next level that we can invest in? And so we have this, which is focused on our leaders. In terms of measures, There's a variety of measures listed here, but I'll highlight some of the salient ones. And some of those measures include pre and post tests to determine whether or not the participants, the graduates, feel that they are prepared. And then that is going to be grounded in specific leadership competencies that they'll not only be able to speak to, but also demonstrate. There will be a capstone project that is part of their learning journey here. And then there are other key data points in terms of retention. We will be looking at the percentage of participants that remain in Hartford Public Schools after completing the program. We can continue to kind of scroll down here, Ms. Santiago. In terms of reason for contracting and specificity with the vendor, we've had the conversation before around capacity, and the internal Department of Professional Learning is small but mighty, is 1.5, a team of 1.5, and does not have the capacity to build a structure and the curriculum, in addition to the day-to-day work that's happening. And so this will allow us to get our head start and have the curricular, the design, and be able to have all of the learnings from a year, right? This first implementation. We also, in terms of who and the vendor, so PEL has a variety of reasons, has a track record, not only in terms of service delivery and the programming. They've also been a partner with Hartford Public Schools throughout several years, most recently supporting with our diversity, equity, and inclusion professional learning for all of our school leaders. They've also had a track record of developing and implementing principal leadership development and turnaround principal programming across the state. There's a question here as to continuation. We actually don't anticipate needing to have this contract at this amount in the future, given that we will have the curriculum, we'll own the curriculum, and we will have the structure. There is a piece here that we will have to consider in the future, and that's because there is a coaching element. Just like we, as you all know, invest in our teachers with our coaches, our instructional coaches, there is a coaching element for the administrators that participate in this program. And so we'll have to think about that in the future, in years to come. And that doesn't necessarily have to look like it's an external contract. It could be coaching that is done in-house. In terms of capacity building, I just referenced that we will have the curriculum and the structure that will be unique to us here in Hartford Public Schools. And so it's twofold. It is building the capacity of those 10 participants for the year, but it's also building the capacity of our team in the Office of Professional Development. Stakeholder engagement, twofold. One was earlier on, before, when we were developing the ESSER application, and we engaged, multiple stakeholders, and we heard themes around not having clearly articulated pathways for growth, especially leadership growth at Hartford Public Schools. And so that's stakeholder voice that we're responding to. But then most recently is the creation of the Professional Learning Advisory Council, which convenes several members from different offices to inform the vision and the broader structure of this program that will then be used in partnership with PEL to develop the curriculum. We can shift now to some of the financials. You'll see there that the cost is about $11,000 per participant in this first year. And, research was done and comparable programs, cost at around $30,000 per participant. I know that we always get a question as to what if, right, the participant graduates and then they decide to leave Hartford Public Schools. Those that decide to participate apply, and if they're selected, they will be required to sign an MOU, right, the promissory note and agreement to stay with the district for a minimum of 2 years after the completion of the program, and if not, they'll be required to pay the cost back to us. And Christina, if you could, Ms. Santiago, if you can scroll up just a little bit more. Thank you. And you can see there pretty much the key buckets in terms of the budget, with the facilitation and the coaching that I spoke to, and then the actual development of the curriculum. The rest is background on PEL and who they are. I know they are here, and if you have any questions, they'll be able to answer those. But you can see here that they have expertise in developing, facilitating leadership development programs specifically focused on urban leadership, not only at the school leadership level, but at multiple levels of an organization, an educational organization. So I think I'm gonna pause there. We have our PEL representatives here, and also acting assistant superintendent Taurus Hill is here as well if you have any questions to this proposed contract.
Thank you so much, Dr. Torres Rodriguez, for the presentation. I have a few questions, just for clarity. So you already have to have an 092, correct?
Yes, for this program you do. Just giving you a little heads up that in the next teaching and learning committee, we will likely come back for another program that we're visioning out for those that are interested in the assistant principal, assistant director role. So for teacher leaders, but this one's specifically for those that already have the 092.
Thank you. And another question, what would really be the incentive for an individual to participate in this program? I understand it's the $11,000, you know, that's the cost of it, but what would really be what's the real meat of this program that will really entice someone to participate, to want to be involved?
Yes, I'm going to tag our partners from PEL, but before I do that, I think I just want to kind of preface with, right, it is targeted and very specific professional learning focus in our context that kind of sets it apart from other experiences that they might have. And it is also contextualized within a project-based perspective, right? They have a capstone that they have to engage in. And so those are the key elements that I will lift, but I'll tag in anyone here from PEL to speak more to that.
I could speak a bit to that. Hi, everybody. I'm Richard Lemons again. I think one of the important incentives is career development, because just the possession of an 092 doesn't in fact guarantee landing a principalship. Of course, neither does participating in this program, but I think the theory is that the district's placing is that by targeted high quality supports for someone who seems to be high potential, here's a way of moving into potentially moving into a really prominent position in the field of education, which is principal. Our experience in comparable programs like this, especially ones that target the folks who already have an 092, suggests that it really does make a big difference. That we've found in some other districts across the state, especially urban ones, that there are folks who possess an O92 but really aren't ready for day one in the principalship, especially in particular contexts. And such a program can make a big difference. And we have a lot of anecdotal evidence, especially from a couple of our legacy programs that we have run, where people report in pretty large numbers that it ended up being a career changer. The quality of the program set a marker for the direction of their career and was some of the highest quality leadership development that they had ever experienced. So I think the quality of the program coupled with the potential of advancement are really important incentives.
Thank you for that clarification. And I have a follow-up question. What are some districts, other districts, or what's another district that's comparable to this urban district of Hartford that you've worked with, that you've seen success, and what were the successes?
Fabulous question. And collectively, and the three of us who are on board, there are a number of experiences that we can draw upon. One particular one that I will cite is, and it's referenced in this template, is the Urban School Leaders Fellowship. Years ago, we were invited by Fairfield County Community Foundation to work with Danbury, Norwalk, Stanford, and Bridgeport to develop a similar program. They were looking at the quality of the applicant pool. They wanted it to be deeper, and they wanted more people to be ready for day one in principalship. And they placed this strategic bet on those folks who already had an O92, that we weren't trying to get them through certification, we were trying to get them ready. And over the course of an intensive year-long program, the participants were put through really focused, intentionally curated and designed leadership experiences that built up experiences over time and their ability to reflect on those. We did that. All four of those districts that participated, they're not all four perfectly comparable to Hartford, but I think you can see some similarities in some of those districts. And we had incredibly high reviews from our client districts over multiple years working with them in this capacity. We also funded an external evaluation, and that was conducted by university professors from a few different universities who came and spent time on site observing the program and also gathering perceptual data from the participants as well as their supervisors. And some of the findings from the evaluation suggested that there was a documented improvement in practice, that supervisors as well as the participants themselves could point to and provide evidence for specific improvements in core leadership practices that were identified by these four districts as essential to be able to be successful as a principal. In addition, we found that in these four districts, these individuals were being hired at a faster pace than other people who were holding the O92 but had not participated in the program. So we were seeing that as a pipeline lever, it was working. As a quality lever, it was working. And I think we have comparable data with the Lead Connecticut Superintendent's Principal Program and the Turnaround Principal programs that we operated when Lead Connecticut, the state's leadership academy that we were the managing partner for, was operating. So I think we have pretty strong evidence, especially from third-party evaluators, that this can have a rather significant impact on the participants and on the system that's hosting such a program.
Thank you so much. I have one more question, and then I'm going to see if anyone else has a question. So Dr. Torres Rodriguez mentioned that the curriculum for this would be Hartford pretty much would own it, and it would be tailored to Hartford. So is that what took place with the other districts? You tailor it to each district that you work with?
We try to do that. Our fundamental belief is that there is no perfectly packaged program that could match and align exactly to any given district, that the local realities do matter. So as we started this conversation with the district was very clear, and they wanted something that was Hartford centered, Hartford specific, that it worked within the realities of the Hartford strategic plan, strategic operating plan, and it also matched the local contextual needs and desires of students and faculty. And and that's what we try to do, is to match to those. It was a perfect match for us. We also wanted this to be sustainable for you. So we thought it was a brilliant idea to design something, obviously leveraging our past experience as an organization, also leveraging Hartford's. Hartford's not new to the experience of leadership development. So you have insights. We couple those together. We build a powerful program that both parties have access to afterwards. And the beautiful thing about that for you is that you could, at the end of this year, say, we want to provide some leadership development for folks to run this program and to guide it. And you will have the curricular framework, you will have the lesson plans for particular sessions, you will have the leadership tasks that we will be designing that happen between sessions, and you'll have the parameters of a capstone. And so I think and I imagine that even though we've already spent hours and hours and hours trying to identify the unique features for Hartford, I imagine that we will learn quite a bit in the course of the rest of this year launching, and that those learnings can be put into future iterations of the program.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is my last question, I promise, and then I'm gonna. Have you worked with any principals, or not principals, rather, individuals who have the O92 to be in the program who would be principals in a Montessori, a public Montessori school, or an IB school?
That is a great question. I do not believe that USLF had participants from Montessori, nor do I believe that the Lead Connecticut programs or the Meriden programs did. But I'm going to just check in with my colleagues to see whether, because Kelly and Tisha are going to be the main drivers of the work on the ground, and they have vast, deep experience in leadership development. And I'm just going to check in with them of whether there's any connection there to Montessori programs and leadership development historically.
Okay, thank you so much. And now I'm trying to see, I don't see any hands up, and I'm going to see if any.
Hi, I'm sorry, I didn't hit the hand raise. This is Kim Oliver. Let me put on my video. If you don't mind, Chair Darissa Ledger, if I can ask a question. It's a clear.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so this is really quick. So I know we talked about the O92 and it's required this time around, and perhaps in the future it would not be. Just for context setting, understanding that this is a requirement this time around, so it's not as if the PEL experience will be able to help with this. Could you just share for those of us who are not on that education path, like what it takes to be a O92, and then I guess and I do have a quick second question, I guess, after that.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask my friend and colleague Kelly Lyman to give a bird's eye view of that, because she in her work outside of us also works at one of our local universities and is involved in leadership development and certification from a university perspective. So Kelly.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Richard's right. Along with doing this work for PEL, I also am the coordinator of the Executive Leadership Program at the University of Connecticut, which is actually the program that prepares administrators for the superintendency. But prior to coordinating that program, I have about 10 years of experience teaching in the O92 program, which is the program that works with teachers. I've taught lots of Hartford teachers, in fact, supporting them to earn their O92. In the 092 program, UConn focuses on 3 primary areas of development. One is curriculum instruction and assessment. Another is talent management and resource management, primarily of people, and educator evaluation as well. And then the third focuses on policy and other professional development actions. So in a nutshell, to move from the teacher role into the leadership role, you need to build expert skills in teaching and learning. You need to develop knowledge of management leadership, including the change process and how to support and develop people, and then operational issues such as budgeting and many other requirements.
What I would add to this is the perspective from the backside of this in terms of users. So UConn has a very solid, an award-winning program in 092 development, and also a really amazing 093 program. And there are quality programs across the state. It's also the case that leaders in our urban centers across Connecticut report regularly high variation in readiness among people who have already received their 092. So what's really important to mark there is that the possession of an 092 does not guarantee success to be or the skill sets to be a successful urban principal. And this kind of program becomes an important bridge from that certification program into effective practice, hopefully day one of the principalship. It also allows you not to have to be intertwined with the complexities of managing and being responsive to the state's requirements for what 092 certification entails. Because you could say, well, we want to be involved in the development of 092 certificates, and that's a really complicated piece, because there's a lot that is required in statute and regulation by the state. And so this creates a space for you to drop in and tailor specifically to the needs of Hartford Public Schools.
Thank you. That was extremely helpful, because I've always heard 092s and 093s, and just having that context was helpful for me. I don't know, and this is a question for the superintendent. I don't know if this is against policy or anything like that, but I'll ask, is there any consideration, my colleague, Chairwoman Deirdre Ledger asked a question about incentives, but is there any consideration of, well, if you're part of this program, this PEL experience, that you would have an additional, 2 points as part of the interviewing process, when going actually for an open school leader position with the district?
I think actually that is something that the committee raised as an area of further exploration. Is it they're already going to receive coaching and support with the interview process, but there were other recommendations that were made. And so absolutely there's space for consideration.
That's fantastic news. And my last comment is I really do appreciate the format for the contract. So thank you, Superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Board Member Oliver. And I'm looking to see if there are any hands up. And I do not see any. So I believe that we are we all set with this one?
We are. Thank you so much. Thank you, PEL, for joining us.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So can we please have the agenda up, Christina? Thank you. And now we are moving on to the next agenda item, which is contract continuation approval, revision, learning. And who will be presenting?
believe that's Chief Barney.
Chief Barney, correct.
Yeah,
With
okay.
Principal Rice and the team, yes.
Chief Barney, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I wasn't sure. It was my time to speak.
You have the floor.
All right, thank you so much. So just to build some background on this agenda item, the Commissioners Network was established by the Connecticut General Statute section, which represents a commitment between local stakeholders and the Connecticut State Department of Education to provide support to districts and schools and increasing levels of student achievement through improved systems and structures. A network of schools remain part of their local school districts, but the districts and the State Department secure school level flexibility and autonomy for schools in exchange of heightened accountability. So the purpose of this agenda item is to approve a continuation of leadership coaching services from Revision Learning Partnership. Services have been state approved by part of the Commissioners Network plans for developing instructional practices for Hartford High and McDonough for the last several years, 1 year with McDonough and 4 years with Hartford High. The item was approved by the state of Connecticut as part of the Commissioners Network budget. So just a kind of a brief description on revision learning. It has established services, systems, and structures through its work with hundreds of schools and a substantial number in the state of Connecticut that assure aligned cycles of improvement that drive levels of student performance, teacher effectiveness, and organizational design. Revision supports shifts in leadership practice and teaching and learning that create higher levels of teacher effectiveness, all leading to significant shifts in culture and climate in schools over time to increase student achievement. Through the research around collective teacher effectiveness and educator-student relationship have shown the greatest impact on student achievement. So Revision knows and works with the schools around investing and building the capacity of its leadership to facilitate teacher growth, recognize the influence of strong cultures and climates of learning, and generating continuous student growth. Over the last 4 years, the schools have organized and successfully implemented strategies for instructional leadership teams, formative observation and feedback cycles, professional learning planning and implementation. For Hartford High, being awarded an additional year of Commissioners Network funding, the approved scope of work was included in the sustainability plan, and the scope of work and between McDonough and Hartford High will ensure alignment, instructional practices, and support for student-centered instruction for all students, including our students with special populations and special needs. And they also ensure that students going from McDonough to Hartford High have a similar experience with the culture and climate, as well as instruction and support. This year, they are going to continue to leverage the practices, incorporating targeted continuous improvement cycles aligned to a review of student performance outcomes, cycles of formative feedback to support professional performance growth, cycles of school improvement planning and review, and cycles of performance evaluation to measure reflection and goal attainment. It's multiple layers of work that they do from the top down with PLCs, data teams for professional learning, reviewing of student performance data, observing classrooms and providing feedback, working on student-centered instructional practices, especially relating to support of our multilingual learners and our students that receive special education services, and then creating professional learning structures that build capacity, as well as sustainability beyond the funding of both schools. It is the collective structures and supports that Revision will give to Hartford High that they can then carry on going forward once they are no longer a part of the Commissioners Network. The data that both McDonough and Hartford High have seen and the improvements over the course of the work with Revision have impacted teacher practice, which in turn has
impacted student learning outcomes. I, for example, have the pleasure of participating in the monthly walks with the state of Connecticut at both McDonough and Hartford High. And before each walk, we revision sits, administrators review the data, where they are, where they were. They set formative goals related to their school improvement plans. And then we also norm around like, what is the feedback and the next steps? So I've actually been able to witness the growth just in a short amount of time with teacher practice based off of the feedback and the work. All of the practices are aligned to our DME, our school improvement plans. They're connected to lowering the chronic absentee rate, raising daily attendance, decreasing suspension rates, connected to the family perceptions of children feeling supported in school, increasing the graduation rate, and as well as the connection to academic rigor and student success. Excuse me. So the work completed with revision began in 2020, and it continues to connect to both schools and their school improvement plans. And the focus really this year for both schools is student-centered practices and supporting students with special needs as well as multilingual learners, so that we are looking at equity across all content and ensuring that students are supported, they're engaged in the work, and they're accruing the appropriate credits towards graduation, all while accessing Tier 1 curriculum. And in addition, connecting all of this to the teacher evaluation process around cycles of feedback, continuous improvement, and professional learning. And then building the capacity of the instructional leadership teams at both schools so that they can carry on the work in the future and ensure that the data keeps trending upwards. And then lastly, the structures that Revision Learning provides in creating instructional teams and professional learning communities has allowed for the expansion of teacher choice and input and the development of their own capacity as learners and as leaders at both schools. For the first time this year, like the students, the staff can choose professional learning paths for the year in which they will work with the ILT team to develop strategies and tools to engage all learners. Teacher voice and choice in their learning has led to the creation of teacher teams and providing a layer of sustainable work across all aspects of school. It's shaped a positive culture of learning and feedback amongst adults in the school community, which has led to better staff retention rates and the investment into the school communities. And I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Chief Barney. Let's see. I do not have any questions per se, but I'm looking to see if there are any hands up, or if Board Member Oliver, do you have a question?
No question. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well done. And are you all set? Is there anything else?
No, we're all set. We're just very excited to continue the work at both of the schools. The academic growth it's very visible. I'm very hopeful when the new accountability data comes out that will showcase the hard work as well. And so we're very excited to continue the work with Revision.
I just want to reiterate, this is the superintendent again, that this work has been a thought partnership, if you will, with the team at the State Department of Education as well, throughout, the last couple of years. So just wanted to thank the team internally here as well for, managing that partnership as well.
Thank you. And I believe we are ready to move on to the next agenda item. Thank you again, Chief Barney.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And our next agenda item is acceptance of funds, adult education, CEE grants.
Yes, we have Dr. Zandra Lynn Gordon, the Director of Adult Education, who is brand new to this forum. So thank you, Dr. Gordon, for getting all this together. It's been more than a year since they've come, so thank you. And I will screen share while you go over it.
Superintendent Leslie Rodriguez and other members of the school community, good evening. This afternoon, on behalf of the Adult Education Center and our two CEEs, or two cooperating eligible entities, which we refer to as CEEs, our purpose is very simply to ask you to accept funds on our behalf. So we have money. We would like you to accept these funds on our behalf so we can continue operating our school. The two CEEs I refer to are one, literacy volunteer of Greater Hartford, and the executive director, Mr. Stephen Morris, I think is on the call. He was logging in late. And also Urban League of Greater Hartford, the president and CEO is Mr. David Hopkins, and he also, I think, is on the call, so he will be able to address anything that I'll leave out. We need to know that in our state, local school districts are required to provide educational opportunities for adults who are 18 years or older and have not completed their high school credentials. In Hartford, 30% of our population fits into this category. Also, I want to mention that 15% of our adults do not speak English well. So there is a wide variety of people in our community that needs our service. Agencies like the CEEs I reference and our Adult Education Center provide programs that are mandated by the state, and if we do these programs that are mandated, we are reimbursed by the state, which is a good thing. And the reimbursement is 65% from the state, and the district does 35%. Reimbursement is really on a cost-sharing sliding scale. So in places like Avon, they would pay they would get less than 65%. Maybe they'll get 20%, and they have to find the rest of the money. So we are very fortunate. Provision for the CEEs to apply for this grant has to be done through the district, hence these two CEEs. The mandated programs I reference are programs like the Adult Basic Education, which we call ABE, secondary school completion, and there are three paths to this. One would be the CDP, Credit Diploma Program. The other would be the GED program, where the students are required to do English, math, science, and social studies. And then there's the NEDP program, National External Diploma Program, which is kind of online, and students have an advisor that they check in with, and most of the work is done online. We use what is called the CASA system. We don't use the assessments that are used in the K-12 system. We use the CASAs. This is approved by NRS. All the adult education units or centers use that very system. And so we think that we are on the right track. I also want to mention that Literacy Volunteers and Urban League work in collaboration with us. We share our instructions, we share our materials. They concentrate mainly on the lower level students, and they send them to us. So when we do our testing, if there are students that are operating at a very low level, like a grade 3 kid who needs a lot of hand holding, these students we refer to Literacy Volunteers or Urban League, and they do the same thing for us. So we work together as a unit. What our objectives are basically to get our students to the level that they can be productive members of our community, to get them to go to college, to get them to get jobs, and to pass the exams that they would like to get their high school diplomas. We also do some work with our bilingual kids or multilingual kids. And particularly at this time, we find a number of them in our schools. They swell the classrooms. Unfortunately, we can't find enough teachers to man our rooms, but our classrooms are crowded. So it means that there is a place or there's a need for us to continue working with these students. Can you move down a little bit for me, please? Continue. In terms of alignment, we try to align with the objectives of the district. So we fit into all those categories that you see on the screen. We work closely with our district because Adult Education Center is a part of the district school system. Sometimes we don't feel that way, but we are a part of it. And so whatever the district does, we try to mirror. We work also closely with the state to make sure that our students are successful. I'm going to ask if any of the CEEs are on the call and would like to talk about their data, or get ready to talk about their data. I want to share with you our graduation rates over time while they're preparing. I'm very proud of it. In 2020, we had 31 graduates. And you know what happened in 2021? The number went down to 26. In 2022, we had 37 graduates. And last year we had 43. That I'm very proud of. So that suggests we are doing something to help our community.
Thank you, Dr. Gordon. I just want to note for the committee that I didn't prep her, so I was trying to jump between the forms. I think she did give an overview of all three.
I think it's maybe better if they ask me questions.
Yes.
Because I'm not very sure what I need to tell the committee apart from please accept the funds for us. So you can ask me questions, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gordon. And I have to say that I did attend the graduation, this most recent graduation, and it was so inspirational. It was very, very enlightening, and also it gave young people, it gave more seasoned individuals. I don't want to say old people. I want to say it gave everyone hope and motivation and even purpose. You know, it was nice to see, you know, the children who were watching some of their parents graduate, you know, completing things, you know, and I see there were some obstacles that some folks overcame, and it was a beautiful thing to see. It was a beautiful thing to witness, and it was a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I just had to say that. I'm looking to see if there are any questions, any hands up. I don't see any hands up. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
Chairwoman Darisol Ledger.
Yes.
This is Kim. Sorry, I had to move to my phone. Similar to you, I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm very familiar with the program and have the privilege to attend multiple graduations. I'm very proud of the work that happens with adult ed and all the partners. And so very appreciative of the presentation, and I look forward to supporting this at the regular meeting.
Thank you.
I second that. Okay, so I'm trying to see if just a quick check again. I don't see any hands, so thank you so much again, Dr. Gordon. Keep up the great work.
Thank you for having me. Sorry, I didn't understand the format.
Thank you all.
Thank you to our partners as well for joining us.
Indeed, thank you for inviting us. Great job.
Thanks for having us.
And I believe that was the last agenda item. So thank you everyone for joining and participating. And this meeting is adjourned.